Okay, party people, I am back. If you are joining us for the first time, you are at the Ambition Customer Summit. This is our third one, second virtual one. Next year, we're coming back in person, so stay tuned for more information about that. If you were with us in the previous session, it was so good. Shout out to the SDRs and Danielle, who you will be seeing again here in a moment. And just a little housekeeping. I'm Jamie. I'll be coming back at the end when all the fun is over. So, but I'll also be manning. Oh, wait, no, I missed my slide. So this is CS Success Stories, and I'll do some housekeeping here in a second. I'm really, really excited about this session, though. Our customer success use case for Ambition has only grown, and the power users and really the pioneers of that are our very own CS team internally. So we've got Kelly, Scott, and Emma who are going to break that down for you shortly. But before they say cool stuff and you learn a lot, just a reminder, I will always send the recording. I would never leave you high and dry. So do not worry. We are recording this. It will be in your inbox tomorrow, maybe. We'll see. Q&A. I am about to put something in the chat here. All right. We have a Slack channel, the Sales Summit. A lot of you are already in it, I know, but if you are not in it already, please join and chat with us. The Q&A will be happening over there as well. So if you have questions today, or they say something that just really grinds your gears and you want to have it out with this crew, head over to the Slack channel. I'll be there also during the entire presentation if you have some thoughts that you want to share. And follow along on social as well, CS2021 at Ambition Sales, really everywhere that your socials are sold. And I will leave now. Good luck, everyone. I'm kicking it over to Danielle.
Hi, everyone. Hi again. If you were on the last session, it's good to see everyone again. So I will share my screen and we will get started. All right. So as Jamie was saying, this is our success story. So we are talking about how to onboard, certify, and celebrate your customer success team with Ambition. We are joined today by Kelly Berg, who is the VP of Customer Success, Scott Cook, who is our Enterprise Customer Success Manager, and Emma Hamilton, who is our Customer Success Manager as well. So I will be behind the scenes, just kind of, handling the slides, but I will kick it over to Kelly to get started.
Awesome. Thanks, Danielle. Great. Well, if you go to the next slide, just to outline a bit of what we're going to cover today, I think a lot of our customers, a lot of the people who know Ambition know us really well for our sales use cases. And as we heard on the previous session, an SDR use case is a fabulous one. So today we wanted to talk you through a little bit about how we at Ambition use Ambition for customer success. And we do have more and more customers who are bringing their CS teams or their support teams or other customer facing roles onto Ambition for a lot of those traditional use cases. So tracking activities and making sure those are tying to outcomes, showing leaderboards, those great workflows to celebrate all of the achievements. We're going to talk about three of maybe the lesser known use cases for CS, and a lot of these do translate extremely well to other roles. So we're going to focus on number one, ramping employees and how Ambition can help do that. Certifications and development. So two areas that are very important to us at Ambition and have been newer use cases for us over the past year. And then gamification and running CS spiffs through Ambition. So some ideas if you're thinking about gamifying things for your CS team, some of the stuff that's worked out really well for us over the past few months. And Danielle, if you hop to the next one, there's a few more details on each of these categories. So when we think about ramping employees, we're really going to pick Scott's brain on this one as our newest Ambition CSM. Scott came on board over the summer and really got to experience what it's like to be a new employee using a tool like Ambition. So understanding how to be successful and track the training and learning that's done along the way. We'll talk through certification programs. So am I actually qualified to present to customers? So we mid-year rolled out a new business review template. And before we just threw all of the CSMs into the wild, we started running certification programs and using Ambition to reward and show the digital badges for earning different certifications. Emma also created an incredible CSM development program targeted at the SDR role. So for your SDRs who may not have aspirations to go be an AE or kind of move through the sales funnel, perhaps they would like to come over to the success side of the house. And so we'll talk about building a bench of potential new hires. We are a very quickly growing organization, so it's wonderful for us to have employees and SDRs who are trained, ready, and developed to move into that next step as CSMs as we grow. And then the last piece, CS certainly contributes to every company's bottom line through all of the revenue retention, expansion, growth. And so gamifying that in particular can be extremely powerful and bring out some of the competitive juices that these two certainly have. Our whole CS team, it gets a little cutthroat, I think, with our competition. So we'll have some fun talking about some of the ways we have gamified CS. Okay, so let's dive into new employee ramp. And on this next slide, there's a couple images of some of the things we do in Ambition for new employees, but I'm going to tee it up to Scott just to tell a little bit of his story. So Scott came on board last summer and not only had a new product to learn to be able to talk about for customers, but for himself. So to be coached in Ambition, to use the different features and functions, and to understand what a good day looks like. So Scott, tell us a little bit about that experience and what it was like having Ambition there as you came on board.
Yeah, you bet. So onboarding, training new employees, definitely something that I've been thinking a lot about, something that in my previous role I was really focused on. So I was really excited to come to Ambition and join the team and start to see how this really cool, versatile product was going to be used for ramping and for onboarding. So, a really big portion of this is giving me clarity on what I need to know in order to do my job, right? You think about the sort of tools in the CSM tool belt, right? There's a lot of things you need to worry about. You need to worry about your product knowledge, has to be second to none. You have to know what are processes, right? So what do we need to get a customer stood up and implemented with Ambition? Who are we working with? What are the stakeholders involved with that? How do we establish those relationships over time? I could go on and on and on, but basically there's a lot we need to know. And, it's similar in a lot of ways to previous roles, but it's always a little bit different as well. So I think where Ambition was super, super helpful for me was for the ability to have a onboarding action plan that was put together, that was a 4-phase action plan that Kelly had put together that was focused on all of those big buckets that we needed to think about for onboarding, right? So there was, within my first week, meetings with the departmental VPs of all the different departments that we were going to be working with. So sitting down and understanding what's important to them, how CSMs can work for them, and how we can best work together to keep our customers happy. There was a product phase of this, right? This is a very versatile, very deep product that can do an awful lot, can be a little intimidating to learn. So, I think that was a really big piece of this as well. Also our processes, implementation, working with our solutions architects team, working with our support team, making sure that we're fully covered there, as well as just understanding Ambition's broader place within the market, right? We're really excited about where we are and what we're able to offer our clients and customers, and really just understanding where that is and where we're headed. So I think the Ambition really was kind of the checklist, the funnel for me for taking all of this stuff, all of this different knowledge, and then helping me kind of work through it in a really organized way.
That's great. And I think a nice thing about Ambition is sort of this idea that what Emma's great day might look like as a CSM who's been in the role for a couple of years is vastly different than what Scott's good day is going to look like. So Emma's scorecard is tracking her interactions with customers and her calls and all of her emails, where for Scott, his Ambition usage is just going to look different. So whether it's just a new scorecard role that's focused on fewer of those activities to just show what he's on track to do, but then using things like the action plans or a different coaching program that's really targeted to the learning and development milestones that were particularly important for Scott, but not applicable to Emma and vice versa. So they had different Ambition experiences during this period of Scott ramping up, but still something that was really relevant for them, and something that as the leader helps take work off of my plate, because I can assign due dates, I can link out to other training materials materials or videos I need Scott to watch or certification programs, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And so everything can be tracked for me. I don't have to worry about necessarily coming up with that batch of questions for Scott's coaching check-in or making sure his due date is hit on this action plan. I can kind of set it and forget it, which with a bunch of new hires is a great blessing to have for sure. Danielle, if you want to jump down into goals and visibility, this is another piece of ambition that I think maybe is a little underutilized or people might not know as much about. So on this next screenshot, you'll see when you're setting goals for your employees. So as a leader, I go in and set up our team goals, individual goals, things like that. You can actually make trackable goals and ambition that don't need to necessarily be tied to a metric. So Scott doesn't really have any renewals in his first few months at Ambition. We're not going to do that to him. We'll let him ease his way into things. So what I could do is create goals for Scott that are on different things. So like he talked about connections, building, developing, reinforcing relationships. I want Scott to get to know our sales team, our marketing team, our product team. I can set up goals for him related to capabilities. So knowledge, skills, competencies, the things he's going to need to do his job. And then as Scott kind of grows through his, relationship and in his role with Ambition, there's career related goals that could be, related to promotions or merit or achieving accelerators for his comp plan or things like that, that can span all of these different areas. And they don't necessarily have to be tied to what Emma's goals look like, which Emma has very tangible expansion goals, renewal goals. We can get pretty creative, and that helps Scott stay on track and stay motivated for those things that we need him to be doing before he actually has the same metrics-based goals that everyone else on the team has. Scott, anything you want to add there? Did this help kind of keep you on track throughout the onboarding process? Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's definitely a few things. I mean, I think this is really nice. I think exactly what Kelly pointed out here is that, I'm not in the same place where someone who's been here for a year or 2 years is when I'm joining the team. So the ability to kind of make my experience and what my sort of milestones are custom to me was really helpful. Because, for example, if we're doing a competition on expansion, like I don't have clients to expand in my second week of the job, but I want to be a part of the team and I want to contribute, and I really want to build that momentum. And so I think this was a really special area for me to be able to dive in, see some of the important things to focus on, and also just see some progress too, because I think you do feel eager to I want to go out there and I want to expand a $1 billion upsell my second day on the job would be great. But that doesn't happen if it takes time. So I think being able to look at kind of the small rocks you're moving that are hopefully adding up to some of the big rocks is really helpful for me. And so, I found this to be really encouraging and really helping me know okay, where do I need to focus today? Not just go learn about competitions, but watch Chad set up 3 competitions or set up 5 competitions according to XYZ metrics. So that's where I think this really helped me get granular and kind of keep moving.
Awesome. And speaking of all of the small rock achievements and the big rock achievements, if we dive into certifications and accolades, so one of my personal favorite parts of our platform, on this next slide, you'll see sort of the higher level overview of accolades. And if you are an Ambition customer, you probably know about these already. These are some that we have created specifically for customer success. So I can build accolades for my team based on either metrics achievement. So if I want to give an accolade when someone closes X amount of renewals, or if we're doing something based on activity or calling customers, great, you can set it up for different tiers of metric achievement. I also created the CS MVP, which is a weekly award I can give out on Fridays of saying, you are rocking it, you're doing a great job, whether it's related to, their actual metric performance or maybe a project they worked on. And we can build these out as culture boons. So we'll see in a couple of slides, there's some of the accolades we created specifically for a new hire to encourage them. We can talk about peer-to-peer awards and things that are totally there to like build goodwill and culture within the team. But we're actually going to talk about how we use accolades to be sort of a stamp of approval or that stamp of certification to say, this is your publicly facing acknowledgement that you can do this thing. You can demo our product. You can deliver an executive business review. And we're actually going to use these to show who's done this and who's still working on it. So on this next slide, we show an example of what our executive business review certification looked like. So before Ambition, I would do something like this where I would have my Google Slides template. I would make a rubric of these are all of the things I want to see this CSM do. And then I'd have them, role play a QBR with me, or I'd sit in on them doing a QBR. And then that would be that. I would just sort of remember that, oh yeah, I guess Scott did this and Emma did this at some point, and I don't know. And whether someone was a new hire or a current employee, we probably would only focus on the new hire, less so than those tenured reps, even though this was totally new material, a different talk track. We really wanted to make sure that we could make expert EBR deliverers out of this. So we took all of this stuff I had already had built and said, okay, let's actually both use our coaching to help get people prepped and ready for this. We use our chorus links in our coaching to actually review some of these live with customers, and then award an accolade. And this, if you can't tell, is Michael Scott giving the PowerPoint image. We love an office GIF. But so we created this accolade to say, okay, once you get this stamp of approval, fantastic. This accolade is yours. It's part of your digital trophy shelf. And for me, I can make sure that everyone on my team has this. We've all gone through this certification. So this is one example, but we have done all different types of certifications, whether they are tailored specifically to new hires, or if they're things that the whole team could be refreshed on. And Scott, on this next slide, talk about like the CS demo certification and how you've pinned it to your Ambition profile, and tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, you bet. This one was a lot of fun. So just as an example of what that certification process looks like. So demo certification, right? I mean, CSM, you have to demo the product a lot. You have to be sensitive to different situations in which you are demoing the product, right? So a demo for a new stakeholder is going to be maybe a little bit different from a demo for a completely new product owner, or maybe a team that, oh, I've heard of Ambition, I know it does Slack triggers, that's all I know, right? So we need to be able to understand pretty quickly the situation that we're in and then tailor a demo to that specific situation. So I think that was really what was behind this certification, which was led by our account management team and also had Kelly and Jared Houghton involved as well. So essentially what happened here was we got two situations, two scenarios. One was an expansion scenario and the other was a completely new stakeholder scenario, pretty common things that happen in our day-to-day. And we had 15 minutes as a kind of mock discovery session with that person. So Kelly played our, I think it was an AE team leader looking to expand. And Jared Houghton played the new VP of sales at Houghton 3000 Corp, or some other creative name. He wasn't sure about this Ambition tool. He didn't really know what it did, and he was trying to determine. I think a lot of people come in and they're wanting to make a mark, right? So we want to kind of understand what the needs are. So we did some short discovery sessions, and then I prepared. A couple days later, we had a demo. So it was a completely customized demo for that. We had specific rubrics that we needed to hit, certain criteria that we needed to mark off to make sure that we covered. And then, eventually work out what our sort of hypothetical next steps would be in that scenario. So I'm going to go ahead and say that it was a massive expansion, and the new stakeholder was very pleased. But what was cool
passed with flying colors.
Yeah, that's right. It actually was $1 billion expansion, believe it or not. But so I got an accolade as a part of that. So, as my stamp of approvals, once that got done, was I got this. And so, again, this was one of those things early on, it was July. I think I had joined mid to late June. So it was really nice to be able to come in July and say, hey, you know what, like, boom, I've got this demo certification. Like, I'm pinning it on my profile. I'm psyched I have it. This is one of those kind of small rock things that helps me know that I'm headed where I need to go.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott. Um, I want Emma to talk a little bit more about accolades from a culture perspective too for CS. So on this next slide, we are showcasing 3 sort of non-metrics based, non-certification based. Oh, where'd our deck go? Okay, we're coming back. Here are some of the accolades that are more culture based. And I want Emma to talk about specifically Dependable Dolly as being like a team mascot one. But yeah, give us some color on the things you can do with accolades.
Yeah, doing these non-metric based at discretion accolades is a huge culture win for any team, especially a customer success team where we do have a lot of quantifiable metrics, but there are a lot of elements to being a CSM that aren't necessarily quantifiable by a KPI. And that's where these at discretion accolades can come into play. I'll never forget, it was, I think I helped out one of my peer CSMs, Mindy, out with a project she was preparing for. I think it was a demo for one of her customers, helped her out a little bit. And then later that day got an alert from Ambition that I had been awarded Dependable Dolly. And I was like, what is this? And so we had created this new accolade where peer-to-peer CSMs can shout each other out and give each other a pat on the back for helping out the team or helping out a peer. And I was able to share it to LinkedIn, and it was on a Friday, and I was like, this is the best way to end my week. It definitely put me on a high. But I think one thing that was even said during the SDR session earlier today, and I think rings so true with customer success managers, is we like to have that pat on the back as well. Even your more tenured reps. I've been at Ambition for several years now, and I still like to know that I'm doing a good job, that I'm competent, that I know, all the basics of being a CSM at Ambition. So with the demo certification accolade, with these, peer recognition accolades, those still go a really long way with even your reps that are more tenured. And I think it's something that we can all make an effort to use more, to, be patting each other on the back. It's pretty great.
Love it. I'm not going to steal the thunder of this middle one. So the CS Track Star is very cool. And I'll have you keep the mic. And Danielle, if we can jump forward a little bit, tell us about this CSM development program you worked and how things kind of play between a project management tool like Asana and then Ambition coaching. So Danielle, the next slide has some screenshots on it to kind of show a little preview of what this program was like.
Yeah. I am really grateful to have been approached by some leaders at Ambition earlier this year saying that there were some SDRs that were potentially interested in a career track that led them to being a CSM, and if I'd want to be involved in some sort of mentor program. And in true Emma fashion, I took that and compounded it by like 100, took the mission and ran with it. And so worked to create a 12-week development program or a CSM track that would really help ramp up a rep in a different role to kind of get them that early access experience into what it's like being a CSM, but also let them test drive this potential new career. So I got to work with Nolan, who is one of our amazing SDRs. He's been at Ambition for a while, and he has always been really interested in the customer side of the house. So worked with Nolan over a 12-week period. We really tapped into like a full checklist within Asana that was really detailed. But one thing that was super powerful is we were able to run weekly mentor coaching sessions out of Ambition. And so Nolan was able to, as you can see here, this is a perfect screenshot, document as he's going through his weekly checklist, document all of his questions, his findings, stuff that stood out to him. And then we were able to come together every single week, review everything that he, came up to him. And one really cool thing is I had Kelly, so our VP of our department, and then Chris, Nolan's boss, also listed on these check-ins as co-coaches. So they had full visibility throughout the entire time to see the back and forth conversations that Nolan and I were having in Ambition related to this development. And they could just really easy track his progress, track how his learnings and understandings were growing. It was an amazing experience for myself, and I hope for Nolan. Nolan's actually going to be joining the CS team soon. So we're really excited about that. And then upon completion of this program, awarded Nolan the CS Track Star accolade. We're excited to get some other people at Ambition who might be interested in this role, get them the accolades as well after completing this program.
And I mean, Emma, this program was awesome. And as a leader, I am selfishly like, this is the best, like having a bench of people who are very interested in qualified for the CSM role. It makes it so easy. So when we said, okay, we're growing so much, we need, to have some additional mid-market CS headcount, it was like, well, look at here. Nolan just completed this super in-depth program. I can review all of his coaching. I can see all of these notes. Like it becomes a no-brainer, and really great for just, overall Ambition culture to see this movement between teams. And spoiler alert, SDRs make the best CSM. So I'm a huge fan of that career path. But yeah, thanks, Emma. I want to be cognizant of time. I'm keeping an eye on the clock too. So let's jump into CS competitions. I'm a big fan of competing in CS, and I think all CSMs, whether they like it or not, have like a sneaky sales bone in their body, where they love to work on those expansions, renewals, always selling, always demonstrating value. So we use Ambition for CS competitions. The next slide, I think, will show a screenshot of this was a competition specifically targeting building expansion pipeline. And the sad part is we called it the Back to Life competition. This was in like May, June 2021, where it seemed like everything was great in the post-pandemic world before the Delta variant swooped in. So we did theme this Back to Life. We had prizes that were monetary gifts for like airfare, Airbnb, hotels, event tickets, things of that nature. But the competition is great for CS as well. So we have all of our CS metrics in Ambition, and that means we can compete on all of these things. So from renewals, expansions, pipeline creation, to referrals, to things like updating customer health or delivering QBRs. This is a big part of the CS motion and how we create spiffs every quarter. And I'd love to hear, Emma's been here a long time and has participated in so many of these competitions. Like, when you are in a competition as CSM, like how does that drive what you're doing? How do you start thinking differently about those activities?
Absolutely. I'm such a competitive person. I respond really well to competitions. I definitely get super fired up. I think it's important to remember that your customer success team is a vital part of your sales organization, and your revenue organization, and to not forget to gamify that. I even think back to like this competition specifically that we're looking at a screenshot of. I feel like that invigorated a new fire in me to go after these expansions. And really, this was a pivotal moment for me in my time as being a CSM. And I feel like really unlocked a lot of potential within myself, and was really on the heels of this, getting these expansion referrals, able to grow my footprint within a lot of my organizations that I already work with. It was great. So yeah, I would just say, don't forget to gamify your CSMs. Like Kelly said, we're super competitive, and it's a great way to also communicate the most important directives to your team as well. So at that moment in time, we were looking at our numbers. We knew expansion was what we wanted to focus on. And so Kelly was able to use a competition to communicate that top priority to us and kind of reverse psychology, gamify us into blowing those expectations out of the water.
And Emma has more than 2x her expansion goal for the year, so it worked. So that's great. There's the perfect ROI case study in Emma. So yeah, huge fan of competitions, and thanks, Emma, for talking through that. I think we've done it. I think we're at 28 minutes in, and I think we've covered our slides here. But before we wrap, I would just say for any of our customers who are watching this, if any of this sparked some interest, if you want to hear more about any of these things or see more examples, by all means, please feel free to reach out to me, to Emma, to Scott, or to your CSM. And we are more than happy to talk to you about how we use Ambition here and things that have worked for us. I see the beautiful face of Jamie Bradley back on my screen. So our hostess with the mostest is back.
Yes, that was so wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Danielle, for getting everyone together and facilitating that and walking us through that presentation. I want to be dependable Dolly. So no big deal.
Maybe at the end of the day today, Jamie. Well,
guys,
this could be it. This is the day.
I hope I could do it. Well, I actually meant at the top of the hour to just share share the Slack channel with you guys, and I just shared it with panelists, so that's fun. I'm going to share it with everyone. If you do have questions in the immediate term and you want to hop in, I've been over there just live slacking good quotes, but you can hop into the general channel or the CS2021 lounge if you follow that link there and just chat with us. Let's keep the conversation rolling. Also, next up, we have an incredible session. If you are a customer, you do not want to miss this. It is, let me pull up my link here. It is actually called The Future of Rep Performance, and it features, guys, I have too many windows open. It features Travis Truitt, our CEO, Butler Rains, our VP of Product, and Donna Sanborn, who is the Global Sales Enablement Leader for Cisco. Big job, big responsibility, and she has some incredible knowledge. So they're going to walk us through future of ambition, industry, future. You do not want to miss it. So you can go ahead and just join right there. I'm also going to throw it in the Slack channel. So see you guys in 15 minutes. Bye.